Why would anyone spend close to $7,700 out the door on a KTM 390 Adventure R when the CF Moto Ibex 450 gives you 2 cylinders, more torque, tubeless spoked wheels, and even a longer warranty at $64.99? That's the question we're digging into today. Here's the setup. In the American market, the KTM 390 Adventure R comes in with a sticker price of $6,999. But once you factor in freight and surcharges, most dealers listed around $7,700 right away. It runs a 399cc single-cylinder engine, putting out about 45 horsepower and 28.8 pound-feet of torque, with a wet weight around 388 pounds. It's light, playful, and packed with electronics like cornering ABS and traction control dot. Now compare that to the CF Moto Ibex 450. At $6,499, it's already cheaper on paper, and that's before fees. You get a 449cc parallel twin with 44 horsepower and 32.5 pound-feet of torque, a larger 4.6-gallon fuel tank, and a 2-year unlimited mile warranty, double what KTM offers in the States. Adding KYB suspension and tubeless 21/18 spoked wheels right out of the box. And you can see why this machine has been stirring things up. But here's the catch: brand perception. KTM has decades of racing heritage and a strong dealer network in the US, while CF Moto is still proving itself in terms of long-term reliability. So you're not just comparing specs, you're comparing trust. If you like straightforward, no-fluff motorcycle reviews that might challenge the way you look at the American ADV market, hit that subscribe button right now, because this is just the beginning, and we've got plenty more head-to-heads coming. And while we're at it, let me ask you this: would you take KTM's lighter single-cylinder with proven off-road DNA, or the Ibex's smoother twin and longer warranty for hundreds of dollars less? Think about it and drop your take in the comments. Now, numbers are one thing, but how do these bikes actually behave in real-world riding here in the use from highways and logging roads to backcountry trails? That's where things start to get interesting. Asterisk on paper, the KTM and the CF Moto look surprisingly close, but once you put miles on them, the differences jump out. Let's start with the highway. American riders know how important it is to cruise comfortably at 70 to 80 miles per hour. The CF Moto Ibex 450, with its parallel twin, naturally runs smoother at those speeds. Less vibration through the bars and pegs, plus that larger 4.6-gallon tank, means you can stretch longer between gas stops, something you'll appreciate if you're running I-70 through Colorado or Route 66 across the desert. The KTM 390 Adventure R, by comparison, has that lively single-cylinder punch, but it also brings more buzz. At highway speeds, you feel it more in your hands. And with only a 3.7-gallon tank, range can be an issue on longer routes. Still, the KTM redeems itself once you leave the pavement, on gravel, fire roads, and the tighter sections of backcountry discovery routes. The 388-pound wet weight of the KTM makes a huge difference. It's easier to flick, easier to correct when you get into loose gravel, and its off-road ABS and traction modes are specifically tuned for sketchy surfaces. The Ibex is stable and confidence-inspiring, but at roughly 425 pounds fueled, it takes more body English to correct when things get messy. Now let's pull in a couple of rivals to give context. The Honda NX500, priced at $7,399, puts down about 46.9 horsepower and 31.7 pound-feet of torque. It's smooth, reliable, and backed by Honda's huge US dealer network. But it doesn't come with tubeless spoked wheels at that price. And its suspension isn't as off-road focused as either the KTM or the Ibex Dot, and then there's the Royal Enfield Himalayan 450 at $6,399. It's got around 39.5 horsepower and 29.5 pound-feet, and a curb weight north of 430 pounds. It's extremely tractable, easy to ride, and has that retro charm. But compared to the KTM and the CF Moto, it's down on power and feels heavier and technical terrain. So what we're seeing is this. The KTM is the sharp tool for riders who prioritize agility and tech on dirt. The Ibex is the comfort pick for riders who expect to eat highway miles before the trail even begins. And those rivals Honda and Royal Enfield help define the extremes. Japanese dependability versus old-school simplicity. Asterisk. But here's the bigger question. When you line up price, performance, and what American riders actually value dealer support, warranty, and features, does one bike really stand above the rest? Let's bring it all together. Asterisk. At the end of the day, these two bikes aren't trying to be the same thing, even if they land in the same price bracket. What they really represent are two different approaches to adventure riding in America. The KTM 390 Adventure R is the lighter, more playful option. With a claimed 45 horsepower, a curb weight under 390 pounds, and electronics built to keep you safe when traction disappears. It's the bike you'd want if your weekends mean single track, rocky climbs, and sand washes. It's the scalpel sharp, precise, and maybe a little buzzy on the highway, but perfectly tuned for technical terrain. The CF Moto Ibex 450, meanwhile, brings 44 horsepower and 32.5 pound-feet of torque, paired with a twin-cylinder smoothness that the KTM just can't match. Add the bigger 4.6-gallon tank, tubeless spoked wheels, and a 2-year warranty, and it suddenly looks like one of the best values in the segment for riders who want to cover long distances on highways and gravel without spending Honda and X500 money. It's the Swiss Army knife versatile, comfortable, and packed with features, even if it carries a few extra pounds. Stack those against the Honda NX500 reliable, smooth, but pricier at $7,399, and the Royal Enfield Himalayan 450, which wins on character and price, but falls behind in performance, and the picture becomes clear. The KTM and the Ibex are the most exciting choices for American riders who want maximum bang for the buck right now. So which one wins? Honestly, it depends on your style. If you want agility and don't mind some mods down the road, the KTM is your machine. If you want comfort, torque, and out-of-the-box value, the CF Moto is tough to ignore. And here's a thought I'll leave you with. Would you rather buy heritage or buy features? Because the KTM carries the weight of racing history, while the Ibex carries the weight of a spec sheet that embarrasses bikes costing much more. Drop your answer in the comments. Which one would you spend your own money on, the Austrian scalpel or the Chinese Swiss Army knife? And if you've made it this far, make sure you're subscribed, because we've got even bigger head-to-heads coming, and you won't want to miss the next showdown. End of narration. Asterisk.